Welcome back to another episode of TPC. This is college football playoff predictions. We're going to go for the whole breakdown, the first round, second round, pretty much our predictions, how this playoff's going to go. I'm joined with Ty once again. Last time we had a football NFL one. But let's start with tomorrow's game, or today's game, if I have to say. Bama versus OU, a rematch of earlier this year when Bama lost at home 28-25. Pretty much the offense couldn't get anything going in that game, but, Ty is a Bama fan. What was your biggest things? What's your heading in this game? What's the biggest things, if you had to say?
Biggest thing is obviously we gotta kind of tune up the offensive line. Last time the offensive line did not look great at all. So we need to get that started going. But there's just a small mistakes. Last time, we had a lot of dropped passes, a lot of fumbles that gave Oklahoma kind of good field position to where they scored. Basically, I feel like we just needed to pick that up, and we'll be set straight.
Definitely. I mean, that game was just turnovers. Like, the first half, it looked bad. It was 10-0 in the first quarter, and then it was 17-14 at halftime. So, I mean, it wasn't the best game. And John Mateer wasn't even the big factor, if anything. It was the defense. That was the big factor. The OU's defense, that front seven is dangerous. That can change a whole game right there. And the thing is, Alabama, if they can just get their playmakers going with Bernard, and if Ryan Williams can show up, and they don't drop the ball in crucial moments, like in that game, because he dropped a lot of balls in that game in crucial moments, especially that last drive on that fourth down conversion. He dropped that. But, it's just there's too many times this offense in the run game. I mean, it's still not looking good. I mean, in the championship week, I know it's been 2 weeks now since hopefully Jay Miller is back in this game. I don't know if there's any talks with that. Do you know if he's back this week, if Miller is back?
I'm thinking he is. I think, yeah, he is set to play. He is set to play.
Okay, so you got your rusher back, pretty much. You got Jay Miller back. And, I mean, the rushing, it's nothing there, though. I mean, in the championship game, it was -3 yards. You and me, we had both more yards than them, if you think about that. We had the more yards than them. -3. And it's pathetic. They just got to establish the line of scrimmage. If they can win the line of scrimmage against OU, I think they can. But I'm going to be honest. I'm getting such a feeling from this Bama team like a Ohio State team, pretty much. Like, of feeling like lost the championship game, momentum's been terrible, everyone's calling them out. Like, Ohio State, when they lost to Michigan, everyone's saying they were frauds, pretty much, last year. I'm getting this feeling for Bama. Because if you're looking about Bama, they go on the road against the SEC team. Okay, they already played this team. They know how to play this team. Can Caleb DeBoer actually get a win against OU? I mean, he's 0-2 right now in the conference. And you go into Indiana against a rest week because, we forget last year, all the teams had a bye last year got beat. So.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yes. Every team had a bye, got beat. I mean, Georgia got beat by Notre Dame. Oregon got beat by Ohio State. Arizona got beat by Texas. And then Boise, of course, got the bye of that whole thing and got beat by Penn State. So every team got beat by a bye, pretty much. Okay. Maybe it's different this year. I don't know. And what are your thoughts? Like, what does Bama need to do other than the line scrimmage on the defense side, or if anything? And can Ty Simpson show up in another game like this and doesn't turn over the ball? Like, last game against Georgia was terrible.
Yeah, I've been seeing reports. I don't know if these are true 100%, but I think he's dealing with a back injury right now, which is like kind of looks obvious as he's been playing the last 4 games, starting that Oklahoma game.
That's when it started turning.
I think he just has like a bad confidence problem. He's a great player and everything, but when he's not in the mindset of like when he was when those 4 ranked straight games, or even after that Florida State loss, the mindset just looks completely different. And honestly, I think we come into Oklahoma, and if we do beat him, I feel like he'll gain his confidence back. But we just got to take this game one step at a time, and or even one quarter at a time, and just kind of get the run game going. When that's not working, we are a really bad team. But when the run game actually looks like it's solid, kind of opens up the playmaking for Ryan Williams, like you said, Jeremy Bernard, obviously. Even the tight ends, we're looking forward to the Cuevas coming back. He's been injured for a while. But even in that Oklahoma game a couple of weeks ago, he was like the main factor of the offense. So having him come back is going to be huge.
That is a big thing with that, with that going forward. And I think OU's offense is nothing special. We saw in the 2 past weeks of against y'all and against LSU, it was been pathetic. They almost lost to LSU at home. That could have been terrible for this team. And their defense carried that game pretty much for them to even have a shot. And then they had a crazy catch with Isaiah Satcher, their other receiver, who's been going off for the team. But, John Mateer went from a Heisen candidate and his hand injury happened, and it's just been the defense carrying this team, put him in field position. Because if defense does not carry this team, they're terrible.
Um,
That's my big thing, and it's just they're lucky to be at home. Um, I just don't. They depend so much on their defense. That's the big factor with this team. Um, and if John Mateer doesn't get his field position, he falls apart. So
yeah, like 14 of their points of the 25 came from like inside the 20-yard line. So I mean, yeah, we'll have to see.
because didn't like Ty Simpson threw a pick six in that game, or it was the first drive or something like that,
It
or
was
the first
like
half?
6, they got called back, I think. But it was I don't know who. It might have been Ryan Williams on the punt return, and he fumbled it.
Fumbled.
And they
That
were
was the other thing.
the 15-yard line. They scored on that.
And they depend so much on their turnovers. They depend on the defense's turnovers, or you mess up and put them in that field position. If I had to say, I think Bama wins this game, and I was so against Bama putting them in the playoffs, but I think Bama's going to be in the run. They're going to make a run, and I don't know how Indiana. I mean, Kurt Stoney, he just knows how to win. But I mean, if you build that momentum, winning on the road, because we haven't had a road win, because last year there was no road wins in the first round of playoffs because every team got blown out. I think Bama can do it. I think Bama in this offense, if they pick it up and Ty Simpson has that confidence, they can do it in no turnovers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be biased, but like if you kind of look at that last game that we had against Oklahoma, again, just the simple mistakes just kind of killed them. And that last drop on that Ryan Williams, I think it was a curl route or something like that.
Yeah, hitch it, something like that.
Yeah, it was just that's what kind of like put the nail in the coffin for that game. So I feel like Alabama is looking for some blood back on this game, especially not losing to a team twice in a year since like 1896. So honestly, yeah, give me Alabama in this one.
And the thing is, both these teams, not Bama. I mean, OU has eliminated them from the playoffs pretty much back-to-back years. Last year losing at OU, and then this year, if they lose to them, eliminate them again. So I think they don't want to go back-to-back years pretty much and losing to OU. I mean, Bama's favored in this game. I think, yeah, Bama's 1.5 in this game. So it's kind of is I think the spread. Yeah, Oklahoma's favorite 1.5. Yeah, 1.5.
It's really close, though. I mean, if Ryan Groves actually calls a good game and doesn't use Ryan Williams as a decoy, I think we can take this one.
Definitely, I do agree with that. So, and the defensive line scrimmage with that. But enough talking about today's game. Let's hit with the Saturday games. Pretty much, we have a good slate of games. Starting off with I believe the first game, Miami versus Aggies. This is very entertaining. I mean, you're playing at Kyle Field in the morning. That is very. I think that's going to be a big impact because you're in the morning. At night, it would have been different. I think Miami is going to take a big factor of that because playing the night crowd versus morning crowd is a whole different environment. But I know it's a road playoff game, of course. Anything can happen like that. This game, it's just the Aggies are coming off the loss against Texas. They got exposed a little bit with their fraud schedule, and then Miami, they're playing hot ball. They're playing their hottest football right now. After losing to Louisville, losing to I think what was their other loss to?
I'm not 100%.
It was Louisville.
It was like Louisville and it was SMU. That's right.
SMU, yes, on the road. Okay, SMU at the road. So you're going back to Texas, pretty much. Can you get back in Texas, pretty much? Is looking at that. I think the big factor in this game, and it will always be with Miami throughout the season, Carson Beck's ability to not turn over the ball. If he does not look like Sid from Ice Age, it is a different game. If he doesn't look like Sid, that's the thing. This man is Sid from Ice Age, and if he doesn't look like that in the game, he's phenomenal. But if he looks like that and he starts looking confused and looks like he has wandering eyes, they're going to fall apart. This team depends so much on Carson Beck's ability to not turn over the ball. Because the two losses they've had, he has 3+ turnovers in those games, in those losses. So, I don't know. What's your thoughts about this game, if you to say?
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to get Marcel Reed going crazy this game. Home crowd on his side, looking for that get back from that Texas loss. I think I have to go with Texas A&M.
Okay. I mean, you just think they're going to get that get back because of Reed? You think Reed's going to take that big step? He's coming back. He's not going for the draft this year. Staying at A&M. What you think? Who's going to be the big factor in this game? To say with A&M.
I think Casey Concepcion is going to be the big
KC.
factor. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a big
I mean,
Casey.
both are. Casey's phenomenal. He is a senior. He'll be in this draft also
Yeah,
upcoming. Their receiver core, I'll say, is one of the best in the country. Him and Mario and Casey and Mario are phenomenal. When they're
yeah,
like, because one of them can go off. It doesn't matter who has the hot hand. Pretty much, they both can have 100 yards in the game. And Miami's defense, I mean, it's very different to compare to last year. Because last year's defense was terrible. That was Cam Ward had a literally get 400 yards per game for this
yeah.
defense. But it's Carson Beck. That defense has been carrying this team with Bain. They have a couple of transfers in the back end, and then the offense for Miami. I mean Fletcher and Malachi Tony. If Malachi Tony, that freshman, I mean he's been the best freshman this year as a receiver, one of the star players on this team. I think if they want to win this game, if A&M wants to win this game, if I had to say that, they just got to get back to the rhythm. Get the rhythm going because Texas, you went on the road, got smack in the mouth, find something going and get your confidence back in this game. You're heading at home pretty much, hosting a playoff game, so Kyle Field's going to rattle. But if I'm taking Miami. I'm taking Miami. I trust that defense very much in that game.
Yeah. What, Ruben Bain? Ruben Bain's a dog.
He is literally a dog. Going to be a top 4, top 3 in this draft. I think his stats this year. Let me see his stats. I mean, this guy was phenomenal this year. I think 10 sacks this year, bunch of tackles for losses.
Yeah, I really like Ruben Bain. I've been following him all season.
Yeah, you would love him as a Jet probably.
I don't know. I feel like we get Dante Moore.
Dante Moore. I mean, he's pretty good too. Wait, you think Dante's going to be in this draft? You really think that?
Yes, 100%. If he does well in this playoffs and wins like one game, well, obviously they'll win that JMU. But if they beat Texas Tech, he's going straight to the draft. He'll be a top 5 pick.
Okay.
Jets will be a 5 pick because I don't really think the Raiders will win a game. That Giants game might be like toss-up, but I really do think the Giants are more talented.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're going to throw Mendoza into that pit of hell with Genty and Bowell.
I saw something that the Giants have the first overall pick. You see, Colin Hayward. He said they should trade Jackson Dart for that one player.
It was
they have the
Jackson Dart to the Steelers.
Steelers. That's just it's just such a weird thing.
This is the same dude who was talking about trading T.J. Watt, George Pickens, and like 3 first-round picks for Shadur.
This is just he doesn't know ball. It's just crazy how these guys have jobs like that and get paid millions for that. But you'll take say what? You're gonna take Aggies, of course. I'm gonna take Miami in this game. I think Carson Beck gonna have a phenomenal game. I think it's just gonna be a defensive game. Which quarterback is gonna have less turnovers? That's a big factor in this game, if I had to say. I mean, because both their defense is good. I mean, A&M's defense with Hollowell coming in this year, 11.5 sacks right now. He's been phenomenal with this, but we'll see how against this top tier offensive line of Miami has. And the thing is, Miami. I mean, can they win on the road? Pretty much. Another thing is, can they win on the road? Because they lost against SMU, they forget they played at home pretty much in Florida all year. Can they finally win on something like this? It really depends on that too. And it's tough to play in Aggies, of course, though. But I think Miami's going to somehow pull out in the crazy win because, ACC, they got to make a point because that conference is going to fall apart. Jeesh.
Yeah.
It's
been pretty weak. And what are your thoughts on, kind of these, JMU teams or Tulane getting opportunities over, Vanderbilt or even Texas?
It is such a disappointment because I understand where you look at it. So many people, Saban have been saying it, and a lot of these analysts say it's just like a AAA team entering the playoffs for like an MLB playoff show. You know what I mean? Like the Frisco Rough Riders going in the playoffs, playing the Astros in round 1 or Rangers or something like that. It's just like that. You're playing a lower tier team, and I do think you should. I know it's how I say it's D1 football. It's true FBS football pretty much. I get that, okay? It's not FCS and different teams. They're FBS teams, okay? We have these conferences for a reason. But these teams cannot compete. They're not the same level. Last year with Boise, it made sense because everyone had that hype. Genty was that star, and they were really good. But these two teams, Tulane don't even have anything. Tulane has that one quarterback who left literally BYU because he had some soaking stuff. And the quarterback from JM, I actually respect him. Barrett or Alonzo Barrett, I really like him. He's a really good quarterback, but I don't know how he's going to against that Oregon's defense. That Oregon's defense is going to be just collapsing him pretty much.
Yeah.
The committee does need to sit down and has a thought, or the whole college playoffs has to sit and think about what they want to do in the future. Give the group of 5 teams or the G5 teams a certain playoffs like an NIT, or do you keep them in? It's just a whole thing because Vandy deserved to be in the playoffs. This was Vanderbilt's best year, brought the program back. Texas deserved to be in the playoffs. Notre Dame deserved to be in the playoffs. It's just so many. It's just all because of that damn tiebreaker Miami had. If Duke does not win the ACC and they give Miami that shit, we would have had Notre Dame in. We'll probably
Virginia
have Notre
would
Dame
have definitely
in.
made it.
You said what?
I said Virginia would have definitely made it too.
Virginia, if they didn't lose to Duke, I mean, they would have made it too. But Virginia fell apart in the later season. I mean, they went 10-2 and they just fell apart. I don't know how.
At some point, do you think they start discussing like what we put JMU against like Texas and like have another bracket like that sort, or do you think they just continue?
Certainly college football, kind of like a NBA play-in, pretty much.
Yeah,
I think you should. I think we should extend of that like a play-in teams and see how it is. And there's another thing is should you know how like, basketball has these championship rounds of like brackets, like a little like championship tournament? Should you have a tournament for the playoffs? Like a tournament for college football. Like you choose 4 teams out of the SEC, the top 4 teams, battle it out, and it depends on the conference. 4 teams, and then the winner of that conference gets a playoff spot.
yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Now, my question for you is, do you think they should start punishing people over conference championships?
You look at Bama, they didn't get punishment. They stayed at 9. They're the only team in history that stay at 9. They're the only team that didn't move. Every SMU moved down by 3. They were 8. They dropped to 11. I understand in the past because of like their one-game matchups, like Ohio State getting eliminated, or like Georgia losing to Bama a couple years ago when they were back-to-back champs and they lost to Bama because of Milroe and those guys. I understand it, okay?
Yeah.
But like Bama should have got moved down. I think you should have moved Bama at 10, or you put because they should not stay at 9. The performance they had in the SEC championship did not look like a team that deserved the playoffs. You did not.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. But
that's my opinion on that.
I feel like you can't punish a team for kind of going to their conference championship because if they moved Bama out of the playoffs, like at some point
it would have been a whole turn up. I get that, yeah, because like you're limiting them, and they could have just honestly like forfeit their conference championship game. I get that. I think you still keep them, but they should not stay at 9. They should have just failed at 10 and look like okay. The committee's like okay, they did not do good, but a team that did not play in that week moved up. It's just. It's so tough. It's such a tough thing. Because same with the last year with SMU. They lost their game. A lot of people said Bama should be over them. It could have been like such a hypocrite right there if they did that. They could have hoed Bama back-to-back years if you looked at that. Kind of hypocrite right there.
Both sides. That would have been so
Both
bad.
sides. Both sides of that. And the committee would definitely have been bad.
At that point, I feel like SEC would have been like, all right, we're never playing in a conference championship again. Just give us our spot in the playoffs.
Pretty much. That's worthy of the conference championship games now. But enough of talking about SEC football and all of that. Let's talk about the snooze fest games, pretty much. The games that should be talked about. Tulane, Ole Miss. Do I need to say anything? Ole Miss doesn't have their coach, of course. Ole Miss played Tulane earlier this year. It was a blowout. I mean, what do we need to say? I mean, Chambliss, these guys are going to go off. What do you think What do you think the score is going to be? Spread's 17.5. It's just.
I'm gonna throw 35. Actually, we'll do 38 to 13. 38-13 Ole Miss.
I'll go 38 to 17. I'll go through 40 to 17. I think they'll get a touchdown and a field goal, and yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of that game. I don't trust Tulane. I know Tulane. They won the conference. Congratulations that against UNT, but you're not good. I look at Tulane. Their team is so lackluster with their team. Because losing to UT, you lost to UTSA, and your other loss was against Ole Miss, and it was 45-10 at Ole Miss. Okay, and I think Ole Miss kind of wanted to get back. They lost their coach. They want to prove why they're the real deal. They want to prove why they're not going to be a snooze fest team because they got to play Georgia next week if they win this game. So I don't think they're going to mess around. I think they're going to go put some scores on the board, if anything. And Chambliss, Lacey, and Wallace and those guys. And the defense, we know the defense has been really good this year under their current new head coach. So, yeah.
You think Ole Miss can go on a run?
They got Georgia next week, another SEC game. That's the thing. I don't know how that's going to go. In Georgia, we'll talk about them in a second, but they're on their get back. They're on a revenge tour. That defense is playing mean football. That is some mean football, I got to say. Enough talking about that game. James Madison versus Oregon. This game, we talked before this, there's going to be a big storm in this game. It is not looking the greatest in the weather category for this game, if I had to say. If we look at it right now in the weather, it's just it's supposed to rain like a lot in this game. I don't know how this team is going to look. It's raining right now in the stadium right now. It's flooding. Yeah, it's a flood warning. So I don't know how the field position is going to be. And we already saw how Oregon was this year in a rainy game in Iowa. And the offense looked terrible. The defense did good because Iowa just The thing
Was
is,
it on
weather
Saturday?
plays Saturday. It's a night game. Saturday at 7.
It looks like it's just going to be cloudy. There's not going to be rain that day.
It's going to be cloudy. Okay.
Yeah.
And if weather does not play a factor in this, I know it's raining right now. That's the thing. I just know it's raining. Because if weather doesn't play a factor, I think Oregon should just dominate in this game. But if weather does cost, I think this could be a low-scoring game for both these teams. Because we already saw this year how this team, Oregon, looked like in the weather. Against Iowa, it was a rainy game, misty game. They had to kick a game-winning field goal in that game for a chance to win that game against Iowa, and a team they should have won. I'm not gonna. I really do like James Madison. I do. They had one loss this year. I think it was like week 1. I think.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was like an early loss.
Early loss. I do like Alonzo Barrett. Alonzo Barrett's a very underrated quarterback. I think Louisville. They lost to Louisville by 2 scores. That's it. 2 scores. And they've dominated every single opponent, pretty much. I know it's a different environment. Say what?
Have they played anyone good since, though?
They beat a Conference USA team. They beat Texas State. Marshall. I mean, they averaged 50 points. That thing is, they average around 50. I mean, they dominate their conference. I just really like their quarterback play with Alonzo Barrett. He's a really good quarterback. I think he needs to be in the transfer portal this year to get going so he could get somewhere pretty successful if he wants to be a NFL quarterback. But if he doesn't, that's on him. Don't blame him. I just think this game is going to be very underrated competitive depending on the weather. But Oregon should dominate this game. I think Oregon should win 40-20, if anything.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think it's going to be like, I'm going to go close with you. I'm going to go 44-24. I'm going to go that.
Because I do like James Madison's offense. Their offense is really good. I just know their defense is very mid. I don't know too many players on that team, but their offense, I really have good faith. And their coach is coaching this game also for both these teams. They're both coaching they both lost their coaches, Tulane and James Madison, to joining new teams, Florida and then UCLA. So they'll be coaching this game. But I think those teams are just ready for recruiting these players to their next school, pretty much. So
yeah,
that's their main focus. But enough of that. Let's talk about our main predictions for these next rounds. So going into this matchup, looking like it, if I can pull it up, Oregon. It looks like it's gonna be Oregon versus Texas Tech with these matchups heading in this. So Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, Ohio State will host the first game, and that will play the winner of, I believe, Miami and Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. So in AT&T, Ohio State back in AT&T after last year beating Texas 28-14 with the Jack Sawyer with the forced fumble.
Yep.
I think Ohio State beats whoever comes out of this round, in my opinion. That's my opinion with that. I think Ohio State's team, they'll figure it out. I think Julian Sand, he did get exposed a little bit with the putting pressure, how he was, but I don't think anyone in the country can guard Jeremiah Smith. That man
No.
could just get that fucking ball and wreck you.
Yeah, dude.
And you
He's
take
been insane.
he's literally. I mean, he could be a future Jet, maybe a future Chief if the Chiefs fall apart
Future
next
Jet.
season. That's gonna be insane if Patty literally doesn't do anything and they just pull Tim Duncan like the NBA version, just tank. Eesh. That would be.
Yeah, wow.
That
And then
would
you have
honestly
Carnell
be.
Tate on the other side too. Carnell Tate could be a first round. Or he'll be a first
And,
round pick this year.
and don't forget the tight end Max Clare. I mean, he was the number one tight end coming in the transfer portal this year, and he's been phenomenal for this team. And then Bo Jackson has been really good for a freshman. So this team is good. Ohio State is good, and don't even forget their defense is the best goal. They have the best goal line defense in the country. I'll say that. That goal line defense, back to back years, been one of the most consistent goal line defenses I've seen since start week of one, start of last week of the season. And they were good in Indiana. They were good. It's just they couldn't get anything going in the offense. The offense was not getting anything going, and the field goals. The field goals and the coaching decisions, I think that was a big factor. Ryan Day did sell that game. I think he was a big factor of the selling because if you kick the field goal not going for it the first time, you're 13-13. And if you get a chance to kick the game-winning field goal again, you're 13-16. Hopefully he makes it this time. And you get an overtime play. Could have been a whole different game right there if you better coaching, in my opinion, with that game.
Can I say this one thing? I said Texas A&M is going to win first round against Miami. And honestly, I think Texas A&M will upset Ohio State. I feel like Ohio State did go on a run last year, and they looked great. And their defense is probably one of the best. They have Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, a lot of studs on that defense. But honestly, I feel like Texas A&M can upset them this year.
The thing about A&M, if they do come out and beat Miami by a big margin, I can lean with you that.
Okay.
I just don't think Ohio State's different, dude. This team is so like last year we knew they were gonna win. This year I did not have this big faith because it was Julian. We didn't know Julian Sam was gonna be this guy, and the offense was the defense. Reese came out of nowhere. Caleb Downs, we knew that. The secondary was still decent, and the D line. I mean, it's been phenomenal for this defense. They didn't miss a beat. Matt Patricia's been phenomenal for this team. Yeah. He's been the big factor of this team, helping this team. Red zones and all those kind of things, limiting the big plays. That's a big factor. Team limit the big plays, but they did not make a lot of big plays in the Big Ten championship, letting Fernando go off to that random white guy number 82. I forgot his name. Literally went off against him. So Elijah Strat or Start didn't even do anything. He had a touchdown, but nothing crazy. But I just don't think A&M is going to somehow win that game. If it's in Texas too, that's such a tough thing to say. It can go back and forth. We'll definitely go back to this when we get the true, brackets of this, of course, later in the season. This is just our prediction of throughout the poll playoffs. But yeah, then New Year's Day, Texas Tech will play likely Oregon. I gotta take Tech.
You're gonna take Tech.
That defense is good.
Yeah,
Ben Roberts, Rodrigo, Dave Bailey. In the Morton on the offense with the play action with Dickey, Coy Akins, Virgil, forgot who their tight end is. The offense line's playing really good with the play action with the RPO, the hurry up offense. I don't know how Oregon's gonna keep up with that. I don't.
Yeah, that defense will just kill Oregon. But honestly, I feel like Dante Moore. I'm a really big fan of Dante Moore. I've shown a little biasy towards him because I've seen him on a lot of Jets mock draft. But he kind of reminds me of like Zach Wilson in college, if that makes sense. Like not Zach Wilson in the NFL. He's like worse than 9. But Zach Wilson in college, even though he didn't play that much comp, it just gives me like really Zach Wilson vibes to it. But Joey McGuire, the head coach of Texas Tech, has like rebuilt this team into this contender coming from a high school a couple years ago, winning state championship.
He was at Baylor too. He was the DC for Baylor too. So
yeah. So I mean, honestly, I feel like Oregon can upset. But that Texas Tech defense kind of scares me when you put it against a Big Ten team who, offenses in the Big Ten aren't as like prolific. It's more of the defensive sides. So give me Texas Tech in this one.
I definitely think it's going to go down the wire. This is probably one of the best 4 and 5s we've seen in recent memory. I mean, of course, you didn't know in the second year of the thing because last year 4-5 was a crazy game. Arizona State versus Texas with the overtime. Cam Scatterbo had a phenomenal game, 100 yards on the ground and in the air, 100 plus both. It just wow, that game was insane. Still can't believe Texas won that game in overtime. And then Indiana versus winner of the OU Bama. We both have Bama for this game. I smell an upset, dude. I smell an upset, dude. I don't know. How can Fernando do against a defense again? Back-to-back weeks of back-to-back teams playing really good defenses, okay? Because Bama has good defense. Bama has a really underrated defense with Justin Jefferson, Overton, Brown, Harbor in the back end, and Overton at the defense. And then you still have Tim Killen. That defense is solid. Like, this Bama's defense brought everyone back. And I don't know how Fernando's going to do because he did great against Ohio, but it cooked a lot of bails. A lot of missed opportunities by Ohio State's defense. I know Indiana's defense is for real because that team can put pressure on your quarterback on those blitz concepts with this because that's what they against Oregon and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. So they know how to get to the quarterback. That's the thing I realized about Indiana. If they can't get to the quarterback and they don't know how to stop the big play, I do think Indiana will lose. Because we saw in the Penn State game on the road, they found a way to win, yeah. But Fernando did not look good in that game. He had to take a crazy drive to go down the field against Penn State. And that Penn State team was not good. And they beat up on little opponents. They beat up on terrible opponents who scored 50, 60 points and all that kind of stuff. Win a big margin, let the players play pretty much. I wonder if they're going to get hit in the mouth this game. I wonder whoever they play, they're going to get hit in the mouth. Because OU's defense is not a team to play with. That Bama's defense is not playing with. So, yeah, that's my thoughts about that.
Yeah, honestly, I completely agree with you. I'm trying not to show any bias here on this. And, I tried not doing that with the Jets. I mean, I always want the Jets to win. But going back to Alabama, I feel like once they're in a groove, and we saw that after that Florida State game, where if you're in a groove, especially this Alabama team, and especially Ty Simpson, you can't stop them. And I mean, it's Alabama football at the end of the day, and it's Alabama in the playoffs is just a different breed, I feel like. And just that intimidation, Indiana coming 2 years ago, completely just what is going on in this organization to where they are right now. It's just a big props to them. And a huge congratulations. But obviously I do think Alabama could win this only because, when you're saying Fernando Mendoza in some games hasn't looked like Fernando Mendoza, like the Heisman he has been. Obviously I think that Alabama can just shut it down. And I'm going to say SEC ball is completely different from Big Ten ball. So yeah, give me Alabama in this one.
And another thing is this is our first time, and I think the last time we had a Big Ten versus the SEC was Michigan versus Bama, and that came down to the wire in the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. So a chance again to get that redemption of playing in the Rose Bowl again. So it's going to be tough. I will always say I will be biased about this. I don't think Fernando should have won the Heisman. He was not the best player in college football. It was Diego or Jeremiah Love. That was my two opinions on that with that situation because Fernando was not the best football player in my opinion. He's a great NFL prospect, but we gave it to the best NFL player, the best college football player. We gave it to Travis, but even though Travis wasn't the best, we could say Genty. But it's the best overall player in college football. That's the thing. It's different with MVP too. It's the same thing with MVP like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then now Georgia versus Ole Miss. They played earlier this year. I know Lane Kiffin's not the coach anymore.
Yeah.
That Georgia team's different. That defense is frightness. It kills teams. They don't mess around. This is the old Georgia with a good offense. That's the dangerous part now. Branch can go off on you. Noah Thompson can go off on you. Frazier can go on you. Robinson can do some shit. Gunnar Stockton can just run over to you. This team is dangerous. And the defense, they will dig apart you. This defense gives me vibes of not 22, but 21 mainly. More of a 21 defense or maybe a 23. They don't have the high talent of players, but they got the chemistry going. The chemistry's looking good. And this defense, I don't know how Ole Miss can keep it up with no coaching also. That's another thing. And then there's talks of transfer portal. Maybe Chambliss leaves after 1 week. I don't know.
Yeah, I was hearing about him not even playing against Georgia or Tulane. It's You just gotta suit up and play your game, bro.
Mm-hmm. There's too many talks right now. Like this team, a lot of these players are out on the off the field, like thinking about the league, but on the field, some want to stay. They want to play for this new coach. You can't have that right now, and your media is going to get to that, and you're not focused on ball right now. Georgia, they're focused on bringing the Natty back to Georgia, pretty much.
Yeah.
And definitely trying to make a long run because last year was disappointing. Losing to Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl against a quarterback that didn't even throw the ball over 100 yards, I believe. I think Rob Leonard had like 3 touchdowns in that game by himself. They got exposed in that game. It was a bad game by Georgia, if I had to say, in that game. Losing to Notre Dame in that fashion.
Yeah.
And now going to the semis. What were you going to say?
I thought Georgia was gonna win it last year. I was between them and Ohio State, like at the start.
I really did think that too. I really thought it was going to be Ohio State versus Georgia. I did not expect Notre Dame with their run. It was just insane. Yeesh. Heading to the semifinals now. The best of the bowl. And you got the sugar. You got the Peach Bowl, pretty much. With our thoughts with this, if I had to say, we got Tech or Bama, pretty much with what we have, Tech and Bama.
Yeah.
And then we have Georgia, Ohio. You have A&M. I have Ohio. Let's say with the Tech and Bama one. If Bama it goes this far, I think Bama makes the Natty.
I really like their bracket this year. I feel like they didn't really get punished as much as I thought, and then being put in this bracket, it's just like kind of a blessing to them.
It is because it's the same with Ohio State. Look at Ohio State last year. Tennessee, SEC first round, blew the crap out of them. Got a rematch against Oregon in the Rose Bowl, BTA them, and then Texas, you BTA them. It was a close game, but then scoop and score.
Yeah,
I mean, this is kind of like that's what I said in the beginning of the video. This is just Bama, Ohio State 2.0. It's just the same exact run. I just can't get that fandom with that. It's the same exact run.
Yep.
And I think Bama can make a run with that. They got lucky with the schedule, I gotta say. If they were 10, they would get fucked. But they got blessed with a 9. They got blessed with that.
They got 9. They got 9.
9. They got 9.
We're doing it for JJ.
Oh, that is
the funniest.
But what do you have? And my team lost to 9. I just can't believe that's still. Lost to 9.
You're making fun of them and you lose to them and they like knock you out of the playoffs. That's fucking hilarious.
We're not out yet. We'll eventually will. We'll see this week.
Texas Tech, Alabama. Yeah, give me Alabama. Like
I trust Tech. Tech has the defense and it's looking good. But when you're playing a team that has nothing left to play for and they're just going out, it's just that Tech team that defense is so good. I don't know how Morton can do against a top tier defense. That's another thing is I don't know how this offense of Texas Tech can do with the top tier defense like a SEC kind of team. That's my biggest factor with that. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Tech make it far. I mean, support the Big 12. But this is SEC, and we don't know. I mean, the past history of SEC versus Big 12 have not been competitive. It has been blowouts left and right, with OU always getting blown out or like shootouts. And then you had literally TCU versus Georgia in the SEC in the Natty, 65-7. So it's not been comfortable with the Big 12.
Shout out Eisen.
Yeah, and then Texas losing, of course, but they weren't even Texas. I don't even think. I think it was just barely losing to Washington, that one catch, pretty much. But they were going to SEC anyway, though, so don't even count that. Mm-hmm. And going to the other side now, though, Georgia versus if we had to say both these thoughts, okay, I'm gonna you go first about the Georgia versus Aggies if they happen like that.
In that game, honestly, I feel like this playoff is just going to come down to an Alabama-Georgia national championship.
Part 2 or part 3. We got a part 3.
Part 3. Third time's a charm. Yeah, I feel like A&M will go on a little run, but I feel like their magical run will be stopped by Georgia's defense. Not even their offense. Yeah, that defense looks scary recently. And I think Georgia will go on their run to the Natty.
I think this is the Natty year. This is Georgia's natty year. This team's moving different, and they'll definitely make a run for that. And if they played Ohio State, I don't think Ohio State can handle that. I don't know if Julian Sagan can handle another game getting under pressure like this and playing a top-tier defense because he got exposed against Indiana's decent defense. Not too crazy, but like if they're going to get pressured like that against Indiana, I know Indiana has good comp sets, but Georgia's team is just too good this year, too good.
Yeah.
And it leads us to this now. Georgia versus Bama Part 3. If this happens, or of that. If this happens, it just lines up for a Bama revenge. I mean, the series is 1-1. It's going to be tough. Maybe we get a 2017 natty. Like, it came down to wire. Or 2021, a blowout. You don't know with these two teams. You don't.
No. My take, we saw in 2021, Alabama beat them in the SEC championship.
Yes.
Georgia was back in the national championship by a blowout. It was close until I think it was Ringo gets the pick six and kind of wins Georgia their national title since like the 80s or something. So my take on this is I will take Alabama to win the national championship. Get their revenge game against Georgia. Ty Simpson will be playing on an all-time high confidence. He looked his back injury or his suspected back injury. He says he's good to go, and his confidence will be shooting up high, and so will his draft stock be. He'll be going back to top 10 in mock drafts. That's my take on it. I feel like that's gonna happen with Ty Simpson.
I'm gonna go the opposite with that. I think Georgia just ends the Cinderella. I think Georgia just slams the foot off again, and they just end that. Go 16-1 this year, 15-1. This team does not look different. Kirby Smart found a way to finally beat Caleb DeBoer after 3 games in the series. I think Georgia's different. They'll have that crazy Cinderella run if they somehow get to it because my two teams is Bama and Tech. If it happens. If it's Georgia versus Bama, I just think Georgia gets it done. I trust that. I trust the defense with that. But with those predictions, we'll definitely tune in for another episode of this week, of course, of NFL. Hopefully tomorrow with that. And we'll definitely get next week's predictions of what these teams happen. But this was our full playoff predictions of the whole bracket. So thank you all for joining us for this episode of me and Ty. We'll get you guys back hopefully tomorrow or 2 days. But like and subscribe. Thank you all for joining.
Peace.